Welcome to the Intercut podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. I am your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me, we should host a podcast together. It's Arturo Zurita.
Here for the, number 100. How did I forget? 100. 100. The easiest number to remember. Woo! Exciting.
Long time coming, I guess you could say. And it's not an Intercut special episode without her. We've also got Amanda the Jedi here to celebrate the occasion. Thanks for hanging out with us, Amanda.
Thanks so much for having me on this momentous occasion that I do not at all feel like I belong on, but I'm here.
Amanda, this is your 14th full episode with us. So that. You've been part of, I think, a 6th or 7th of our episodes.
A good amount.
Yeah.
You're 6% intercut. If you had an Ancestry.com, that's what it would come out as.
Love that. Amazing.
Yeah. In a little bit, we will talk about our origins and some of the movies we wish we could experience all over again, all sorts of stuff. But first, make sure you're subscribed to the Intercut podcast, either the video podcast on youtube.com/intercutpod or the audio feed available on most podcatchers. Also, follow Intercut on social media. It is at IntercutPod. That's Intercut Pod. Whether that's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can catch us there. Also, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. It makes me happier than getting to our 100th episode. It's awesome.
Cheers.
Also, yeah, cheers to that. I think it's
been 45 seconds. YouTube won't care at this point, so
good to go.
We've also got 2 new things that are worth plugging here. 100 episodes in, we started a Patreon. That's the thing I think a lot of these podcasts do at certain points. So if you are somebody who wants to support us, if you like what we do, you can head over to patreon.com/intercutpod and support us. We've got 3 tiers there available at $1, $5, and $10. $5 gets you a shout out on every episode. So if you want to get shouted out, if you want to get access to Intercut episodes early, if you want to get access to Intercut episode outlines early, make sure to head on to patreon.com/intercutpod and support the show. Also, check out our Discord. We started an Intercut Discord in the description down below. Lots of movie chats going on over there. And yes, the Intercord, as Art likes to call it. The best place to stay up to date with what's happening in the Intercut universe. So, whole bunch of new stuff going on for our 100th episode. But some things will remain the same. Art, let's get it started the way we do pretty much every week here with what we are watching. What you been watching, buddy?
we had a Tom Holland double feature. I know we're going to be doing an after credits for one of them, so let's talk about the one that I believe we may have collectively liked less. Cherry. This is the one that at least I know all three of us saw, because I think Chaos Walking isn't available in Canada yet.
No, they blocked me off from that stuff.
They're so like, far away. They can't get the signal over there, so Amanda wasn't able to get the link.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that one eventually. Cherry, though, that is available everywhere by the time this podcast comes out. Tom Holland, he was with the Russo brothers. They made the biggest movie of all time. They killed him in the previous bigger movie of that time. And they almost kill him again in this one. It is based off of a true story.
Everything but.
I don't know if y'all... Yeah, everything but practically. I don't know if y'all have read the story.
I did.
How is it?
Oh.
The Russos kind of went out of their way to make characters more likable. For sure. There's not I really don't think anybody's redeemable. There's also this element in the story of like him kind of not necessarily corrupting another person, but kind of being involved in someone else's downfall, which is not present in the book. It's kind of like that person kind of does their own thing on the side and they meet up again and it's all like, oh, cool, I'm also doing that thing that is ruining your life. Amazing. Let's do it together. It's not bad. It's interesting. It ends a lot differently.
Okay.
I don't know if you care about spoilers because it's like somebody's real life, but...
Yeah, it's someone's real life, but in case you haven't seen it, we'll try to not get into too many spoilers, but it is based off a true story about this dude who did serve in the military, and then, you know, while he was in the military, he went through all of this stuff, came back, found a way to write this book while he was in prison, tried to option off this book... and wasted all of his calls in jail until the Russo brothers picked up the phone and got it at the cheap, I want to say. And now they turned it into what they call an independent movie. Because to the Russos, that's a different word for them.
Yeah.
And they made this movie that they'll be releasing on Apple TV. As we know, Tim Apple, he said he only releases the best of the best on Apple TV, only the stuff he show for his family, and clearly he wants to scare his children to make sure that they do not touch drugs of any sort or hang out with Tom Holland ever again.
Yeah, exactly.
Zach, your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very curious decision on the behalf of the Russos, right? They are coming off of the highest grossing movie of all time. At one point, Steven Spielberg had the highest grossing movie of all time in Jurassic Park, and he used the clout from that to help get Schindler's List made. At one time, James Cameron had the highest grossing movie of all time with Titanic, and he used the clout from that to fund deep sea expeditions in his submarine, and then Avatar. Yeah. So Russo's following up Endgame with this really stylized movie that is very loosely related to the opioid epidemic, that looks more like a Nike commercial than the docudrama that it seems to aspire to be, is just a very strange choice to me. It would make sense if this was like a very personal story to the Russos, but in every interview that I've seen from them, they're just kind of like, yeah, we're also from Cleveland, so you get it. It rings very false to me. It feels like they see this as a good setting to do a bunch of cool stuff. They get their drug movie, they get their war movie, they get their bank robber movie all in one. And it kind of ends up feeling like none of them are justified in being in this movie.
Yeah, because it's like 2.5 hours long. Yeah. It is a hefty movie. They're trying to make an epic that, I figured was going to go to award season and stuff. I will say the actors give it their all.
I thought so.
Yeah.
They do.
Tom Holland said that he always likes to dedicate, one movie to his grandpa, and then the rest that make the money, the rest that are Spider-Man, the rest that gets him out there. But he said this is that one that he dedicates to his grandpa. The type of movie that, he feels is going to last a while. That type of drama that, again, would have been probably big in award season, be it any other year. And I didn't hate the movie. I didn't think it was a bad movie, but it tries to do a lot, like Zach said. And it's interesting what they decide to focus on less than other things. Like, they will take their sweet time on the bank robbing things to the point that it feels like they kind of want you to... They're telling you don't do it, but also the Russos own a costume shop. And wouldn't it be dope if you look like Tom Holland in his costume? Look at all the different costumes we're giving you, the way he robs things. Dress like that for Halloween. Don't do anything dealing with drugs, but also here's every step-by-step on how to do so. I was talking to Zach about this.
And also it feels awesome. Tom Holland just said so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a prude or anything, but I had to search up the MPAA rating on this only from the factor of the way that our rating system in America has certain sexual acts and words be so explicit that it becomes NC-17. Yet the amount of drug use that they're able to do in this movie, completely fine. I think kind of adds to the point that they may have thought they were trying to make. But again, it's they spent all this time on that. They spent all the time on the war things. And then there are other aspects of it, I would argue, like with prison, well, they just gloss right over it. This is the best part. And it's like what they decide to focus time on kind of shows you what kind of narrative they're really trying to push. Like Amanda said, it's very different from the book. They make different changes to it. And if there's one thing the Russos have been, I guess, criticized with Winter Soldier, with Civil War, is having certain political points that they like to push. I do not think they are absent from this movie. I don't think they're absent from the press runs that they've been doing for the movie either. But I don't think they're as effective as they think it is, I guess.
I can agree with that for sure. I feel like they've really been trying to focus on like the opioid epidemic part of this. And I felt like the military part was the more compelling thing. Because like we've seen the like, the military shit, but like I'm still a hero type thing. It's not as common to see the military story being told from someone who's like disillusioned before they even get overseas. Like it's before it, like everything feels fake. Everything feels like people are just playing characters and roles and all of this craziness. So I thought that was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Like when I read the plot for this, I thought that was going to be the part that disinterested me. And that ended up being like the more interesting part to me, because then after that it kind of turns into a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, that's a thing. I found a lot of the dynamics they tried to sell as really unbelievable in the way it was presented. They tried to show him as a guy suffering so heavily from PTSD that he becomes this junkie, but I didn't get that impression from the way they portrayed the PTSD. They tried to portray his girlfriend as suffering so much from their life together that she also turns to drugs.
Rather than leaving.
And it felt so sudden and uncalled for in the moment that they change her character in that way, that I just was kind of out on their whole progression. I have to buy that they actually get to that point, you know, and I at no point did I really feel like it rang true, which brings me back to Tom Holland, because we praised his performance. You guys praised his performance. I would also say that he's very compelling in this movie. He's a charming on-screen presence. There is something that rang hollow in the movie, and I to an extent that is the movie that the Russos wrote, but did this movie make you feel at all like Tom Holland's ceiling is a little bit limited in terms of the types of roles he maybe could do?
His Peter Parker voice. Right at the beginning,
it's a
he's
little bit
robbing
weird.
a bank, dude, and he squeaks in.
Like, it's not even, you can't really say it's Tom Holland's voice because he's putting on that American voice.
Yeah.
But it is very much the Spider-Man voice.
It has me worried for what he's going to be doing with the video game one. Like, I already didn't think he looked enough like
Uncharted.
Nathan Drake.
Right.
Yeah, and to think that he just may not have the voice in it either. Chaos Walking would have been the other feature that came out. I know Zach gave it a 10 out of 10. And at least in that one, he fit the character. In this one, I like his performance because... honestly, it's just the physicality of what they put him through. I agree with Zach. It is a true story, yet the way that they tell it cuts out so many things that it leaves you wondering why the parents of certain characters aren't doing much when they're threatening their hardest to defend their kid, yet it's so easy to move on to the next scene. It was very showy in kind of like, it's almost like a parent who tries to teach their kid what not to do. So they take them downtown to the city. They take them to the slums and be like, do you see this? Do you see this? Yeah. Don't become this.
Yeah.
And then they sold it to Tim Cook and put it on Apple TV.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe, but it's like one of those things that it's so long, but at the same time there wasn't enough time for everything that they tried to do with it. So like,
I don't know how that happens.
It would have excelled as like a mini series probably if you wanted to make it, even though the book is relatively short. But then they choose to add things, so that takes up more of their screen time. Like I said, this might be something you want to cut, but like in the book, she's just like doing heroin down in Florida, and then they like meet back up again after he's back from the military after, and then they're just kind of like, go get your HIV test and then we can do it again.
Sheesh.
Like that's it. Like that's that. Much different. And that was definitely emotional manipulation on the part of the Russos to like really pull it. Yeah.
Do y'all remember the movie Thank You for Your Service?
Yeah.
That was another movie that kind of tried to cover what was going on here about these soldiers that go off to war, and when they come back, you know, they also kind of have a similar thing where they're just trying to get by. They don't have the benefits for what the military has given them. And I think that's where the movie feels so sloppy in this sense, where it's like, I don't understand how you're blaming the military. But the prison systems, that will be the thing that fixes you.
Yeah, like that was so
It's very confusing what they were going for in the movie. But again, I don't think it is a terrible movie, an overly long film that definitely was a parent trying to tell their kid to not do meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it's a lot of effort in service of not much. You know, they try all these things. There's all of these tricky cinema things where they break the fourth wall.
Why'd they do that?
They have text on the screen.
Superimposed,
They have that cherry filter that goes over stuff and crazy drone shots. It all just feels like it should be in a Marvel movie, not a movie about addiction and PTSD.
But the stuff like, I felt like, honestly, some of the flashy editing was what made it like, I watched it twice because I watched it and then watched it again so I could make a video. And that's what kind of made it like interesting in some ways, like especially the military. I found with the military stuff it worked really well with the stuff on screen and just to really just drive home how like weird it was, but then like later on it felt weird. I think I described it as like in the beginning it felt like there were so many random one-liners that it felt like somebody's Tumblr feed. Like he's just saying all this stuff. It's like a tree would have to be really messed up for me not to like it, and just like all of these different things.
Aspiring high school yearbook quotes.
Exactly, but just like back to back to back to back. But yeah.
Kyle was in this movie. Super Duper Kyle. He
Yeah,
spied with his little eye.
Wait, who
he
was
was the
Super
dude in
Duper
the
Kyle?
car right at the beginning.
One of the
Really?
friends.
Amazing.
That
I didn't
was
know
him.
that. Okay. I didn't even know
Yeah.
this.
It's
and I've
got a
seen him
pretty big
in
cast.
person.
As I mean, he goes through
Yeah.
3 chapters really.
Jack Rayner.
Yeah. Holy.
Yeah.
He is in this movie too. Damn. Okay, it should have been a miniseries. For what the Russos were trying to do, I think that would have been a lot better because they really wanted to. I know, yeah, Zach would not have sat there for 5 hours for 5 episodes. But at least
two and a half might have been too much already.
If you're already spending this much time with these characters, at least flesh it out to a point where it doesn't feel rushed when it's already dragging, I guess.
Yeah.
There's little moments here and there that we're missing.
Should we shift to Tom Holland's other big release, Chaos Walking?
I know we're going to do an after credits for this one, but
Oh, right, yeah. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Zach just
then.
wants to let you know how much he loves it. His inner voice is fighting to come out.
I want to watch it so bad. Like it's just so ridiculous, and like the production behind this movie, I
It's
just need to
insane.
see it.
He's not even doing promo for it. Yeah. You have to watch the cherry promo and try to see if anyone sneaks in a question in there. But yeah, Amanda didn't get a link. She needs to go to the US Canada
Right.
border.
They
With
don't
her
let
iPad.
people who are from Canada watch Chaos Walking.
Yeah, they bopped it off to E1 Entertainment, and they're like, "Sorry, it's not here yet." And I'm like, "That's why I need the link."
Yep.
Art and I were able to catch Raya and the Last Dragon, though. Don't know how much time you want to spend on it, but I thought it was pretty delightful in terms of these like kind of action adventure Disney animated things. I think I have it in around the same league as I do like the Big Hero 6s, maybe some of the not all-time classics, but a really delightful adventure with creative characters. I like the way that it incorporates all of this like South Asian lore into these different stories. It's got also a really delightful Awkwafina vocal performance in kind of the side comic relief character. You didn't like that as much?
She was in the movie.
I think she's really funny in the movie.
What was your line?
In the way that the movie asks her for. I mean, I don't have any of the
Wait,
movie
Art,
really
you're
memorized,
gonna
but-
do him like this after arguing to get her into that like age 30 to 40 category. You're gonna do Zach.
No, I think I was arguing for her.
I wanted.
He was arguing for it because he was just like, no, she's in a Disney movie. I was like, what? Raya? Who does she play? The Last Dragon.
We'll bring this
I
up
don't
on
think
a
she was
future
terrible,
Yes,
but
of course.
she's definitely playing, like what Mushu was back in Mulan, what Genie would have been in Aladdin. Disney's always trying to have that quirky
The
side
tradition
character.
of these characters.
Exactly, where it's taking place during a certain time period, but that's the character who breaks the boundaries and is making jokes about current times and stuff like that. I know a big factor of the movie was that they shot it at home. Like, a lot of animators were working from home. They had the actors in their closets recording like it was us YouTubers. So that is a very interesting part of the movie and the movie making behind the scenes, especially because there's 4 directors on this, but one of them really stood out because it's our boy who directed Blind Spotting. It's a boy who's got
Carlos.
Summertime coming out this summertime supposedly. Definitely check that one out. I agree with you with it being Big Hero 6 realm because while they are marketing it as kind of a Disney princess movie, they also don't want to say fully Disney princess because they do want it to be an action movie. I think what they kept mentioning was the inspiration of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think there's a lot of Dragon Ball Z epic finding of the stones as well. But I thought it was okay. I thought it was a fun little movie, and I think the best part of it is the visual elements to it more than the dialogue or the characters. And it had a very interesting ending, what it's telling you to do in terms of trust. I will say that.
The ending worked for me. I liked it.
It's classic Disney.
Yeah, it is. I know you also caught Moxie, which is available on Netflix now.
Yep, this is the one with Amy Poehler. This is what they spent the finale of the Golden Globes writing up in their arms so that they could shout it out. And it takes place during, I don't know if it's based off of anything, but it's a bunch of girls who go to this high school where every character is just written to be the worst possible thing. You know, if there is a jock, he is not just a bad jock. He is like going to taunt you to a degree that is just absurd. The dean, definitely not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. What's the internet? You're being harassed? I don't know what that means. I think that the first half of the movie tries really hard in making the bad characters bad. Then it also tries to make some of the good characters way too perfect. And it isn't until the second half of the movie that I actually did like a lot of elements to it, because it is the main girl, her mom is played by Amy Poehler, and when she grew up, she had her own kind of group thing going on, and that's what she ends up creating in secret, which is this group called Moxie. She leaves these little poster cards all over the place, and all these girls unite and join in to, you know, go against all of the bad stuff that's happening at the school. And I really like that element of it. There's obviously a lot of cliche moments when it comes to the friends. You know that the two friends are going to fall apart because one of them doesn't really want to be a part of this secret Moxie group because they don't want to ruin their scholarship chances. But again, if it wasn't for that really rough first half, which I think kind of takes away from the movie and what they're trying to say, because the more over the top you make these characters that are bad, it kind of belittles what you're going for when you make them that unrealistic. And it's not that one or two of them or the things that they do don't happen in real life, but it's very clear that the entire script is meant to be every single moment of their lives is something bad. But it was the camaraderie aspect of it in the second half that I thought really worked well. And there were some jokes here and there that I thought were funny. But
yeah, I figure
I personally
Amy
just give it like
Poehler,
a stream it. Yeah.
Comedic edge.
Better at Mean Girls. I will say that was the one thing to the movie. I realized that they are a lot better writing the bullies than they are writing the nice girls. Oh, no. So, yeah, there is that.
The sentiment that I've generally seen around the movie is that maybe it's a little bit too sweet, a little bit saccharine. It is, though, kind of this young adult skewing teen comedy. So I wanted to ask you if you feel like, A, is it maybe too sweet? And B, is it sweet in comparison to maybe your like Kissing Booths or your To All the Boys and other Netflix teen skewing movies?
Kind of. The thing is, it's just so cliche. There is a scene in this movie that has been seen everywhere, and that is the girl sitting in class calling out the professor for the books they are reading. That has been done in like 7 Netflix shows. I literally just saw it in Ginny in Georgia. It was also in, what's the other one that takes place in New York? With the school.
Emily in Paris.
Is it Grand Army?
Grand Army did it as well.
Yeah.
There's like 2 movies this year that did it as well. Everyone is doing the same scene, and at that point, you start to realize that's a writing thing. That's a creativity thing. There is nothing wrong with the points they are making. They're all just doing it the exact same way. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I've noticed. A lot of people would cry and say, see, it's an agenda that they're doing. I was like, honestly, no, it's worse than that. They're just not creative. They're all just writing the exact same bit over and over and over again. There's a certain point where the student being snarky to the teacher is just, it gets too repetitive after a while.
Yeah. Like, we've all seen Clueless. Like, we don't need this anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only thing. But other than that, I would say it's the camaraderie aspect of it. There is a cute element dealing with a relationship that's going on in the movie, this little back and forth. I liked it. I kept feeling like they were going to pull something on us, and then they do pull something on us, but it worked out well. Like, that was one of the parts that I liked the most about the movie, the relationship that the main character has with her boy, and then, again, like I said, the camaraderie of the group that gathers together for the Moxie. So it's less of... It's more like if this was a journalism class, like because they do it in secret, but if this was like a journalism class that got together to fight against the establishment, that's the type of movie I would put it under. But again, it's a high school version of that movie. So Radio Rebel, that's what I would put it up with. There you go.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a good comparison. All right, cool. So Moxie, available on Netflix now. Is that out of the 3 that we just talked about the one that you would recommend? Because you seem very lukewarm.
On all of them, honestly. I mean, they're all semi-streaming. I'd put Chaos just because there are moments in Chaos that I'll be thinking about for a while. Zach, don't get too happy. Don't get that happy. Don't get that happy.
It's the best movie ever made. Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit.
It's just his thoughts walking in chaos, as the movie
Eternal
says.
sunshine, fucking forget about it.
Man.
All right, so that's what we've been watching. Let us know what you've been watching in the comments below, on the Discord, by emailing us, intercutpod@gmail.com, whatever you wanted to. We're going to get into the interview where we take questions from Intercuties like you. Y'all sent in a bunch of questions for us for this 100th episode Q&A, so we're excited to get to them. Started out with something that's a little bit more about us, a little bit more general. JRC was wondering what our backgrounds are in terms of like education and experience in general, and how we think it's been helpful, or if we think it's been helpful in what we do currently. Art, I don't know if you want to kick us off.
I feel like we all have varying, in terms of education, degrees.
Yeah.
I know you went to film school. I don't know if Amanda, you went to film school. I only went to part film school. You know what I mean? So it's like we all have varying degrees in terms of that. How it has helped, I'm going to be honest. It depends how you look at it. You know, I think when a lot of people go to school, their biggest thing is you're either going to really get an education, or you're going because you're going to try to network. Then the internet happened, right? And all of that kind of, I don't want to say went out the window, but it got transformed into something completely different. You are able to get your word out there to a completely different degree, where you just needed your own camera and setup and everything, and you just needed that consistency, and you learn over time on your own, you know. I was raised on the YouTube tutorials. I knew how to take that and have it become something else. And at first you'll have a lot of people who tell you, no, there's a certain industry standard to do it. It's Avid. Fincher has edited all of his movies in Premiere since what was
Gone Girl, at least.
before Gone Girl. By Gone Girl,
Yeah.
he had made the deal. So it's like, there's another rule that goes in there besides the networking and making sure you're doing the studio standards, the industry standards, and that's that it is always changing as well. And that kind of puts the other two out the window. And from that part, that's when I realized, like, for me, the consistency of just uploading to the internet and being able to have that self-made kind of just creating your own stuff, learning from your own mistakes, being able to have a community of people who aren't just watching you, but they're there to also critique you to a degree. Of course, with a lot of people who are there to give it to you just straight out, because they want to see you fail, because they just want to be super nitpicky. You get it all. And I think, especially recently, seeing a lot of other peers when it comes to them either writing for other outlets, when they start to do things on their own, I don't know if they could handle the same amount of criticism back. So if there's one thing that you don't learn in school, is I think what all of us have gone through with being on a platform like YouTube. It's having hundreds upon thousands, upon hundred thousands, upon millions of views in some cases, where you have those eyes on you, and it changes the way you kind of, well, not just changes, but it makes you learn new things. It's an experience that I don't think has ever been something that a lot of people have looked at when I started going to college. And now we have it in movies like The Kissing Booth, where they're judging you on how your social media stance is, I guess. So I had part film school stuff that I went to in community college, took it from there, and then just started networking on my own. Met these suckers over here, did our own thing, and now we're here.
Yeah. As Art mentioned, I went to film school for college. I went to Drexel as a screenwriting major and did a film minor. And when I was there, I started a film review radio show that formed into a TV show for them. So I kind of got into that stuff pretty early into like my college experience. But what I would say about all that experience and how it sort of impacted what I do now, yes, it informs it, and I like being able to draw on my experience in knowing the rules of screenwriting and having a good understanding of 3-act structure and taking the lessons I learned from being on sets. Or I worked briefly at a agency out in California and taking the lessons I learned from there. I like being able to use that to inform what I do, but I don't think what I have what my experience is necessarily that special in terms of what it's allowed me to do. I think everybody brings their own experience into this form of, commentary or criticism or whatever, and that gives everybody their own kind of angle on it. That's really interesting. And for me, some of my favorite criticisms or commentaries come from people who come from very disparate fields, maybe completely unrelated to film, and then are able to bring in that knowledge into their criticism of something. So yeah, it may be getting versed in some of that film terminology has impacted what I do now, but I know if that's necessarily like something that I would consider like a prerequisite to what I do, right?
Because at the end of the day, it's how you speak to people.
Yeah. It's how you relate to people and how you relate to what you come across in art in general.
Yeah, and I'd say that's one of the reasons Amanda's channel has popped off. It's just she has a completely different perspective to how you cover things. YouTube has allowed people, as much as people want to complain about it, there's a thing you could do, which is just swipe and move on to the next one. She has provided a voice for people. I believe I provided a voice for people who may have not seen themselves in film criticism, not just to the degree of what we look like or what we represent, our own stances and things, just how we speak about things, how we talk about it to a degree where I don't want to say it's more passion than say something else, but it's more to the chase, I guess. It's a different type that wasn't really considered to be something before. I don't want to go through all the accreditation we've gotten over the years, boys and girls. But over time, you see it change, just like the industry changes in and of itself. But Amanda, talk your stuff.
Talk my stuff.
Because yours is blown up,
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say that I tend to talk about like the emotions I feel from things a little bit more than like the actual like the structure of things. And I love hearing people talk about like how amazing something happened when like they did this with the camera and this with the music and stuff like that. I love hearing about that kind of stuff. But like when I watch things, it's always like the emotions that hit me first. So like from my education standpoint, I have a double major in criminology and psychology and a minor in forensic anthropology. I got nothing that touches this except I took crime and popular film courses and kind of worked around that. So like that's always kind of where my angle is going at, is a little bit more from like that aspect and how things are being represented in movies, not necessarily how the movie itself is being made, but just how certain themes and things are being shown and like how that makes the viewers feel. And that's kind of something that I like putting into my own stuff. Like, sure, I make a bunch of stuff where I just like dunk on things a little bit or just criticize like stuff that's like genuinely problematic. But like I also love talking about things that genuinely like elicit emotions in me. So I put that stuff forward as well. And then, yeah, in terms of YouTube, it's just I kind of finally settled into an area where I was like, I just like talking about movies and TV shows and books. And I like reading the book and comparing it to the movie or the TV series and kind of going through what they chose to keep, what they choose to get rid of and different things like that, and how different people approach different styles of media and just kind of how that progresses outwards from there. So I would not necessarily say my education specifically helps with my channel beyond like I was, you always have to do a lot of different writing and stuff. And if anything, it makes me want to, I will avoid pretending like I'm an expert on certain topics that I actually have like a degree in because I'm like not licensed to work in those areas. But yeah.
Well, it's funny that you say that, though, because your answer made me think of your psychology degree and maybe that being an influence into your focus on emotion and feeling, although maybe that's like the tail eating itself, and maybe it's your interest in emotion and feeling that led to the psychology degree honestly, in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm super interested in all different types of stuff like that, and I love to see how different movies and shows either portray how people behave as the result of certain actions, whether I think it's good or whether I think it's bad, or whether I think it's handled properly or improperly. Different things like that are very fun. So there's something for everybody out there. Like if you're interested in it, you can make your spot. Like it doesn't matter if you know what all of these different like frame rate recording things or aspect ratios and all that kind of stuff. You don't need any of that to talk about movies, because movies are made for the wide population of people, and that's you.
Yeah, and just speaking to some personal experience too, like Amanda, I know you always bring in sometimes your punk roots for when we talk about movies like Dinner in America, and Art, I know you like to bring in your connections to education when we talk about movies, like bad education or stuff like that. So, everybody's got some.
Oh yeah, I studied to be a teacher, and then realized I didn't want to deal with kids. So now I deal with kids on the internet trolling me instead.
Exactly.
Oh, and religion. I mean, that's something that I'm very well versed in as well. So that's something that I always find fascinating because that's damn, is that a topic that doesn't get discussed? I mean, it's easy to dunk on the Snyder, religious metaphors and stuff like that, but there's not as many critical think pieces that come from a religious perspective, because usually a lot of the intellectual perspective is very on the opposite end, I would say. So it's more so on human nature and such, but I've always found the spirituality elements to a lot of things very interesting. Minari would be a recent example where a lot of people love talking about the movie from a lot of different angles, but not a lot about, the big percentage of the movie, which is religion. And the only people who do talk about religion is sites I would not recommend, I guess, having grown up in that world especially. So, I agree. Just the different perspectives that people bring to it. Film is subjective, so you can't be wrong about it. Yeah. Until you become that person who doesn't agree with you, and then all of a sudden we throw that word out the window. But nothing can prepare you for it other than jumping in and doing it. So,
absolutely. Ewan Graff left us another question in the Discord to the theme of our 100th episode. If you would only have 100 seconds to put together a montage of what film is to you, which films and sequences would be featured in there? It's a little bit of a abstract, hard to answer question since we're not going to, drag and drop clips into Premiere right now. But
in real time, Zach.
I think we could come up with, 3 or 4 moments or sequences that would definitely go into our montage. Art, I don't know if you have any off the top of your head.
All right, so we got 100 seconds. That's a minute and 40.
Yeah.
Right. I can't even get the full 2 minutes. Okay. So what I'm doing here is that I'm dividing it by genres. All right. So I got docs, comedies, horrors, dramas, action, thrillers.
Game plan.
Right. We're cutting that by 6. So that would be 10 seconds for each one. I don't know if I can think of 4 more things, probably performance-wise, because there's probably going to be a lot of dramas. And I would put 10 seconds for each one. So I would put my 2 favorite action movies. I'd pick 5 seconds from The Raid, and then something probably from a Mission Impossible. When it comes to a drama, I'd probably do something from Whiplash, and then I don't know, whatever other performance. I definitely have 5 seconds of a Western in there. I would want my 100 seconds to be a capsule of every single genre in movies to just capture a little glimpse of everything. I know 5 seconds isn't a lot, but if all I have is 100 seconds, I'm going to make sure I get copywritten. Well, actually, if this is a capsule, hopefully it'll be safe from any copyright claims. So I'll be able to use all the films in there. That would be me, just to have a little bit of everything.
Amanda, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, that's way more organized. I would definitely have something from Whiplash. I know I'd have something from Whiplash. I would definitely, just for like my own funsies, have something from like Guardians of the Galaxy. I want something from Clerks. I want the moment where the painting is being set on fire in Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I want that second glance where it's like not looking at the face and then face looking right back at you. I want that from Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I want some Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I want some Social Network. And I want some Scream. And
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
Iconic selection of movies.
I thought
so. I'm thinking about building this, right? And if you got a short-ish video, you might want to build it around like 1 or 2 audio clips. So for me, I go like, let's just take I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore speech from Network. And just intersplice that with some different characters in moments of conflict, right? So we can throw in the Dark Knight car chase sequence. We can throw in City of God, one of my favorite movies, one of the gun outs from that. We can throw in basically any Scorsese movie. And maybe, if we got some time outside of just the Network clips, I'll throw in some emoting, some deep emoting from Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia, because there's no better movie of people just dumping their emotions out onto you than Magnolia.
Who do you got though? You gonna put Tom Cruise? Like which character?
I think you go with Julianne Moore's "How dare you? Don't you call me lady?"
You know what? We got 100 seconds. You know what they didn't say? There's 3 of us on the screen right now. I'd be putting one quadrant for each film.
Yes.
There we go.
All right, so Zach said he would put
Solve the
60
problem.
seconds of Chaos Walking and then 40 seconds from Magnolia.
It's just Tom Holland saying orange, space bag, orange.
Bro, you goofy in that movie. What else we got?
Got a couple just specific asks. Rusty asks us on Twitter, did either of you guys finish/like Mr. Robot? I have finished the first 2 seasons, and I really, really liked the first season. I was kind of blown away by the first season.
Love the first
I
season.
think a lot of people were. I don't know if it's just the long gaps in between seasons and how thick that show feels that I never really feel ready to go dive back into it. I did eventually binge that second season. Thought it was great. Was like, all right, I'm ready to be a Mr. Robot fan now, and haven't watched another episode since.
No.
Heard that third season's great though.
Yeah, I heard the third season is insane. I've caught the first 2 as well, working my way through the second one. By that point, we had started so many festival stuff. And, I mean, if you watch Intercut, you've seen the last 100 episodes. One festival ends, another one begins. Oh, there's movies coming out during the week. Hey, there's screeners for other stuff that's not even out yet.
What's your South by slate look like?
Just reserved all over. Exactly. So that's my only reason. Always when it comes to TV, I'm always very late. I caught Atlanta, so far after? So, yeah, same thing with Mr. Robot. But no, that's the one that...
I'm still trying to get you to watch Succession.
Oh, wow.
Zach, I finished the finale the other day for season 1.
Oh, season 1, man?
You just
I got so excited.
Him so good.
Bro, it's so good. It's so
It's
good.
amazing.
It's great.
Okay, we're talking about that when we cut. We're talking about that when we cut.
When I finally get to Mr. Robot, I'm going to get too into it, though, because I have a list of movies right here, which I'll get to. There are certain movies in there that got me really into ARG. Mr. Robot has some of the craziest behind-the-scenes alternate looks at certain scenarios because of the way that it deals with technology that I would be going down a rabbit hole that I'm hoping to find time for soon. And I know now that it's wrapped, I might want to get the box set. Like, I don't know if they have a 4K box set for that, but that's a show that I would invest in for sure.
I haven't watched any of it yet, but it's like one of those things that's just always on my list. I'm so bad at watching television shows, like especially if I don't catch it when it starts. I'm just like, 3 seasons. Like, what do you think I am?
That's the thing. Once those episodes start to pile up, and it's like, I gotta watch 20 hours.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder than catching up on a movie that you've heard is good.
Exactly.
But we will.
Yeah, Abhi also asked us if we have talked about Bacurau, which I don't know if we actually did talk about Bacurau because I haven't caught it yet. It's
Criterion, bro.
my probably biggest regret from 2020. I know. I literally have a tab open and minimized to the Bacurau page of the Criterion channel. And it's been there for like 3 weeks, and I refuse to close that tab because I really want to watch Bacurau. But we got South by. We got a lot of screeners, man.
It's good.
Yeah.
I know this one premiered at TIFF. I want to say the same year was Parasite and everything.
2019.
I think.
Yep, it was. Yep.
What a stacked year.
It was stacked.
No, I think it's a really good movie in the stuff that it talks about. And then I'm blanking on the homie's name who comes out, who actually plays a military dude. He was just in Blazing World as well. I'm blanking on him, but I know that he's got a good amount of fans. He's got a nice little cult fan base as well that are willing to support him and everything. He kills it in the movie, and I really like what the movie's talking about.
Alice Braga, or is it Sonia Braga?
No, she would be the lead. She also does a great job. But just what the movie's talking about and, the stuff that happens in third world countries. Thank you. Alina's got it. Udo Kier, that dude. He's also in a South by movie coming up. So I would recommend it, Zach. Don't delete that tab. Open it up.
I consider myself to be a fan of Brazilian cinema in particular. Like I really like City of God. I've talked about Divino Amor recently on the show. So that I haven't caught up with this makes me feel really like a fraud.
It's good
right now. Yeah. Two Intercuties actually sent in the same question. Kaylin and Devesh both want to know if we have a favorite episode of the podcast. I feel like my favorite episodes are the ones where we're actually in the same room together. The Sundance ones where we can actually, get together and talk about the movies, and maybe part of that is just that we're in Sundance together, and that's fun. When Art did his road trip to New York, and it was us and Chase, that was a really fun episode.
Actually, it was the opposite. It wasn't when I went to the East Coast. It was when I went to the West Coast, and we recorded an intercut with me driving down the 101 in California. I was coming in on what was on a Skype call practically.
Yeah,
coming down the mountain.
We had Ryan on that call, and we were like, if Art disappears, just keep talking.
And that's how I did that intercut. And then did all the other intercuts, not with this bad boy right here, but I took this one. I took my original Chicago lamp all throughout my road trip, and it ended up melting because it was in the back of the car in the West Coast. And by the time we were done, that thing was melted to a degree. Perry was fine throughout the entire trip, no problem. But yeah, the first one of these just absolutely melted. So those are memorable as well. But I agree. Nothing beats being in the same room and then just being able to.
I think we've done pretty good at establishing the Zoom Skype dynamic, but yeah, nothing beats being in the same room.
Agreed.
Amanda, those are your favorites too?
Like the Sundance ones that are just so nice, and everybody's gathered around.
Even the 5-hour one in its own way, I'm already a little nostalgic for.
Me eating a burrito in the middle of it, just great memories.
Yep. Nindegwa asks us, what are some films that you feel are severely underrated that you always praise? Ndegwa, let me tell you about a little movie called Chaos Walking. It stars Tom Holland. No, but actually sort of related to Chaos Walking, and part of the reason that I am maybe even defending Chaos Walking is I feel like sometimes critics are unfair to movies that are known to be over budgeted, and I think that's why John Carter got a bad rap, and I know Art doesn't agree with me on this.
Yeah, that's why.
I think John Carter is just a really delightful, dumb sci-fi romp with some really effective scenes and a world that I was really compelled by. I mean, look, this is a story that's obviously the inspiration for so many of the sci-fi stories that we know and love today. I think there's a reason why a filmmaker like Andrew Stanton was drawn to it. I just thought it was a fun movie, and I don't know why I'm spending my time defending this one of all things. But maybe better picks for the underrated. I'd say the works of Sean Durkin, between Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, and The Nest, both really underrated movies.
Solid.
Adaptation. I know some people really, really love Adaptation, but I kind of feel like that should be held in like the highest esteem. I think it's one of the best movies ever made.
Think it's great.
Yeah. And I don't see people really talking about this one anymore, but I was really affected by Son of Saul when that movie came out a few years ago. And I just feel like the conversation around it has dropped off since it came out. So the few picks for movies that are underrated. I don't know if you got any.
I'll go off of Zach's defense of overly big movies that are very goofy. Valerian and the 100 Worlds or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shouts Luc Besson.
I didn't mind that one. I know a lot of people hated it.
I'm cool.
I don't think it's a fantastic movie.
No.
But I think it's a good movie. I thought it was an interesting look into this crazy world that he created where Rihanna was changing into different outfits. And you got Dahan and, what was it, Delevingne?
Yeah.
Going through all these crazy worlds. So that would be my goofy pick. Never Jupiter Ascending. We always every time Zach talks about like the Mars movie or I talk about this one, people Jupiter Ascending? No. Just got to make that clear. Sorry, as the Oscar winner would say, no. So no, we're not talking about Jupiter Ascending.
I've got a question for you, though.
Go ahead.
For that, Valerian. Do you agree? There was like a big Reddit theory for a while that if you swapped the actors in Passengers and Valerian, they'd become better movies instantly. If you had Dane DeHaan being the like weirdo, unlocking Cara Delevingne from her pod, and you swap so that Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt were the leads of Valerian, the romance, like, because like they're trying to play Dane DeHaan up as a like really attractive, like suave leading man type role.
Yeah.
You know?
I see what you're saying. I think it would definitely help Valerian because of the fact that, he doesn't fill that role. It's like Jesse Eisenberg trying to be as menacing as he is as Lex Luthor. Doesn't really work. I think it would benefit Valerian. It would, for what it's already going for.
Yeah.
It would completely change what Passengers is. And I've heard that theory that if Passengers was more of a creepy movie, then that would be a better story. So and I love how just adding Dane DeHaan, we don't switch what the script is. It just automatically, all of us observe it as being creepier. Yes, I agree.
Cool. Love it. Continue.
Underrated movies, just a term in and of itself. I know people have different viewpoints of it. Like, does it mean it's actually rated under what it's supposed to be? Does it mean like it's underwatched? So, some of my favorites of the past have been Brigsby Bear. I always talk about Brigsby Bear. I feel it's underrated to the degree that every time I put somebody else onto it and they're I actually have it here, that they give it the chance, I think they end up really liking it. So that's one that I always love to shout out in case people haven't seen it. Oh my gosh. Got Brigsby Bear. Another one that's a little bit older that I wish just more people saw, Living in Oblivion. This is a movie that I find to be absolutely fascinating. It is about filmmaking, gets all of the anxiety and also the love that comes with the craft, how crazy all of it can be. I think it is a fantastic movie. It's playing up on Mubi. It's one of the other reasons why I feel the need to get Mubi, just to have a digital version of this to watch at any point.
Nice.
I would add Loose into the mix as well. That was a movie that I really loved from Sundance. Didn't really blow up. The more that we go to these film festivals, there's a lot of movies that sometimes, The Miseducation of Cameron Post, they win it big. No one knows anything about them. So I don't know if you remember any other ones, Amanda, but there's always those smaller movies you wish got more attention.
Yeah, for sure. Under the Silver Lake is one that I think that it's weird. It was released in 2018, but then you couldn't really watch it until 2019, and then it actually got released in 2020. Like, it was so weird. And for
they try to hide it.
It's so weird because like it's weird, but in a good way. Like, it's got all these like crazy conspiracy theories going on in it. I thought it was really fun.
I swear I'm not trying to meme it, but like similar to Chaos Walking, I wonder just how much when a movie's release date gets yanked all around, people just kind of dismiss it by the time it comes out.
Yeah, I
don't think that's what happened with Chaos, but I agree with you for Under the Silver Lake for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god.
Especially because of the conspiracies in that movie.
Yes. Oh my god.
It kind of adds to it. It makes you want to seek the movie out, which is what is happening in the movie as he's seeking things out.
Yeah. I agree. Then I guess a couple of recent ones. I like Dinner in America a lot. I don't actually think anybody can watch it yet. It has a very rough first 20 minutes, very rough. After that, I loved it. It's so cute. And then Kajillionaire. It's one of those ones I feel like it's kind of getting lost under the radar a little bit. Like, a lot of people are seeing it and really liking it. Some people hate it, but I thought it was cute and I liked it, and I wish it got more recognition.
Shout out Miranda July. She got put on the boys' list. Adrian Brody put her as actress. What was it, of the decade? Century?
The best performances of the century so far. Miranda July made the list along with Eddie Murphy's performance in Norbit.
Just beat him out.
Richard Brody is a king.
Love it. Love it.
I love that list. Unironically, I really love that list.
Love it.
All right. James asked if we could see a movie again for the first time, what movie would we want that to be? I feel like I got a couple answers to this one. The one that immediately jumped to mind was Mad Max Fury Road, just because of like the surge of adrenaline and the rush that movie was. Like, to me, no movie felt more like being on a roller coaster than watching Mad Max Fury Road for the first time. Okay. So I would love that experience all over again. I also... part of this is that I got to see both of these at the Toronto Film Festival, the first time that I ever went to the Toronto International Film Festival, but seeing Nightcrawler and seeing Whiplash at that festival, and the kind of pit that develops in your stomach during the climax of both of those movies, you know, watching the car chase in Nightcrawler and just being like, what is going to happen, or feeling that surge of worry and I don't know, weird pride at the end of Whiplash. Those are just special feelings that I don't know if rewatching the movies you can quite replicate in the same way. So those were some of the ones that really jumped to mind. And then I'd also throw in Usual Suspects was like the first movie that I saw as like a teenager to kind of just blow my mind. It's like, oh, movies can do this. And that was also like a cool moment.
Nice.
I definitely agree with both Whiplash and Nightcrawler. Like, I was looking at my collection and I was like, that experience would be amazing.
It has to be.
Yeah, I watched Whiplash so many times after I first saw it.
Too.
Just continuously. It was so good. And Nightcrawler is just one of these, like, just mind-blowing experiences. Otherwise, though, kind of similar, I would love to re-experience Portrait of Lady on Fire, but in the exact setting I saw it at TIFF, at the Bell Lightbox with the perfect acoustics, and I'm just sitting there alone in the middle, just that
was great.
I want to recreate that. And honestly, I'd like to recreate the feeling of seeing Scott Pilgrim again for the first time, because I was just so delightfully surprised and enjoyed it. Like, it was just a genuine joy. Yeah.
I still remember where I was sitting for Whiplash. I still remember how my back was for the last 40 minutes of that movie. That would definitely be one with the same 4 guys who were also in the theater, because it was just us, nobody else. I want the same people there. A movie that I didn't get to see in theaters, 12 Angry Men, one of the very early ones that I if I had the opportunity to have caught that one for the first time in theaters, I think that would have been a fantastic experience. There's plenty that I would have wanted to catch in the proper format, IMAX, Tenet this year. A lot of Nolan movies that I wish, I would have caught in their proper formats when they were originally released. I still want to catch it. Some of the other ones that I just have here, Phantom Thread would be a fantastic movie to catch for the first time. You guys had mentioned Portrait. I'd also throw in Parasite for the first time.
Yes,
nothing
Parasite
beats being able to experience, all those tonal shifts, the way that they go. Let's see. I have Space Jam on Steelbook, on Blu-ray, on VHS. To experience that in a musky 90s theater that is jam-packed to the brim with the popcorn all over the place. That'd be a great experience.
But with that, you also kind of have to be a kid again. Like, I don't want to experience watching it for the first time again now. I want to be 17 in the backseat of a minivan with, like, sticky
17?
Like a 7. I meant 7.
Zach graduated back in before Jordan got his rings.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I would say... I don't care. I'd be 50 watching Space Jam. What I am very nervous about, I will say, is Space Jam 2. I am so scared. I just need to make sure I put it on the record right now. I am nervous as can be. If there is one movie, I've not gone back to theaters at all.
Ugh.
They say they're giving you the option to rent out a whole theater.
Yeah, they're doing it.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
$200.
There's 2 movies I would do that for. Everything else I'm watching at home.
Space Jam 2.
Space Jam 2. And it's not possible because it's not rapid. Mission Impossible 7. That thing's done. I'm going. I'm going. I'm renting out that theater.
I was debating just doing that to watch like a movie I've already seen again.
You just wanted to go bring your GameCube, your Wii, and just play it up on the big
I was
screen.
like, I'm gonna watch Promising Young Woman, Jesus and the Black Messiah. Like, let's go.
If I were to go back to the theaters, it's about to be a year. I think the year's probably already elapsed, if I'm not mistaken. But I would want it to be for Space Jam 2. I'm willing to give this movie my all. But I'm very nervous it is not going to give it back to me. I'm very, very nervous. So I am just setting myself up for disappointment right now.
Gotcha.
So that I can't have my heart broken.
Are you not boycotting over Pepe Le Pew?
Is he in it?
No, he's
they
not.
They bounced him,
he got cut?
They axed him. There was apparently going to be a scene where LeBron James taught Pepe about consent. But they instead axed him and the character.
That was that came from the Max Landis script, right?
Yeah, obviously.
What are we even answering anymore?
That was movies you want to see for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Any more movies that you want to see for the first time? You had a bunch, Art.
Minority Report.
Solid.
Yeah.
The Others.
My mom loves that movie.
The Others?
Yeah, she loves it.
She got great taste.
I know, she's great.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If I could see this in theaters, that would have been a fantastic experience to have. And then, of course, the original Raids. I say the originals because I'm already assuming that the remake is ready to go.
Yeah. I'd like to have been in that showing where the people thought the train was coming out of the screen.
Bro,
I'd like to have watched that for the first time.
Wizard of Oz when the color changes.
Ooh,
Bro.
Damn.
hate that movie.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I've always hated it.
Damn.
Like you have an active distaste for it. Like people bring it up in conversation. You feel your mood.
You're like nauseous.
Not necessarily get worse, but it's like my mom bought it and was like, here's this. And I was like, that's stupid. I was just like, I didn't like it. I don't know why.
Even Oz the Great and Powerful?
Took me a second, and then Mila Kunis just, whoo.
I'm gonna take that one as a no.
No, I'm good.
I think. Well, they're also working on the Wicked movie, so you won't be able to escape it, Amanda. Sadly,
I know.
It's a property
I
that will
can't.
always be here.
Oh, I know. Good for them.
All right. I'll throw out that I would want to watch Memento again for the first time. 'Cause
Damn.
So much of that is contingent on memory.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And just the experience of like what is going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Tushar sent us in a bunch of questions, picked a couple of my favorite ones. First of all, if you could change one thing on the YouTube platform, what would it be? I think we have two great people to ask about what they would change about the YouTube platform. Art, I know you have a lot of things that you're frustrated about with the YouTube platform right now. You made a whole video about it recently over on Let Me Explain. If you could pick one, is there something that you would change?
No, it's perfect as it is. Don't change it. If I wish for anything, then I'm pretty sure it's going to end up worse. If there's one thing I've learned on YouTube, it's that. But hopefully copyright gets better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to... I'm trying to think outside the box, maybe, because the thing that comes to mind for me is I'd love it if you could update a video, which does not seem to be a feature that I think that was like something that was talked about in like the early days of YouTube. It's like, you could fix things and add annotations and stuff, and they seem to have completely shifted.
They
away
let
from
you
anything like
blur
that.
things and they let you cut things, but it's so weird that like if somebody copyright claims part of your video for visuals, you can't just blur the visuals and let the audio keep playing through. You have to cut the whole
That would be great.
thing. I wish you could just blur. I wish you could just nexus, just do nothing, or just swap in for something else. I get that on their mind. It's like, well, you could have all these positive video comments about something and just throw in Nazi imagery or something. It's like, yeah, well, you would catch that and you would ban the video. Like,
yeah, you would then catch that. You would be overseeing it because now it would come out as a new video on your algorithm that would be getting reviewed specifically in that segment. You're not Twitter. You already allow edited comments. And if anybody was liking those, what does it do? When you pin a comment, if it's a fan's comment, and they edit it, it automatically unpins it.
Yeah.
Automatically. So you already have those safety measures.
Yep.
You already have it that when it's edited, you can click to see what the original thing was. I don't think it's that different for a video. In fact, it would be way more helpful to be able to fix things like that. Will there always be loopholes? That's the biggest thing with YouTube. They make it so much difficult for the creator who's trying to do things because they're trying to stop the people, you know, who want to take advantage of it.
But they're already taking advantage of it, so it doesn't matter if you make the loopholes. Like they don't care because they can just flood it with content. They don't care if they have to re-upload the same video.
That's why we can't have nice
again.
things.
Exactly.
But I do wish they give us more things. I wish they stopped taking away things that they're taking and limiting cards. Used to be able to do polls in videos. Can't do that anymore. You used to be able to, like Amanda was mentioning, the annotations.
Yeah.
You used to be able to reply with videos. And sure, that may have gotten maybe too crazy.
That got bad. That got bad, man. That got bad.
But they're now coming out with things like clips that are taking from bigger videos to create other things. So I feel like they're just coming up with new forms of it. I don't know. I think that there's other things that they could implement, especially that come from other channels. I wish that there was a way, at least when it comes to copyright, that they could handle it to a degree the way TikTok does. But they're already imitating a lot of those things, so we'll just see how they roll them out with their shorts.
YouTube with copyright's a little bit rough. I do wish there was a little bit more going on there, but like because of how it runs, they kind of almost have to wash their hands of certain things because otherwise they become legally responsible. But there's other ways. I know that sometimes when it's blatant, they will step in. Like people like that gun girl, Caitlin Bennett, was trying to mass flag a bunch of people's videos that were criticizing her. And YouTube was like, we're letting you know that they tried to do this, but we don't find that it's valid. So in certain situations, they'll catch it. But like Universal hires some new company to like scour for things. They're not paying attention. Like Universal claiming an entire video because of like 5 seconds of a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna let that fly? Like that's yeah.
I know this is like the antithesis of what all the Silicon Valley companies want to do, but I wish Alphabet, which I believe is the sixth most valuable company in the world, would spend a little bit of that money to hire more humans to actually review the videos that their algorithms are currently reviewing, because that would be a pretty easy solve to a lot of the problems that are on YouTube. Just use your enormous resources and hire people to actually objectively look at these things.
Then you have to train them.
Yeah, and then like the whole self-reporting thing becomes another issue, because like if you make a mistake on the self-reporting, they start saying you've made mistakes, and it doesn't matter how many months in a row you go doing it right, they don't start fixing it. They're like, careful, you've made a couple mistakes, and it's like, no, I didn't. You think I did, but I didn't actually. I know that's how you got frickered, but
tell me, Amanda.
Yeah, I know that's how you got frickered. You got.
I'll let you explain.
Well, Art just likes
it's
making
crazy.
videos about terrorism. I don't know what to say. And he doesn't like to talk about it. He doesn't self-report the terrorism in his video about a Netflix television show. Like,
my bad.
Yeah,
I should have been more upfront.
That gets annoying.
Bro, honestly, sometimes I wonder, because a lot of those were manual reviews, and I'm thinking, did these dudes check back on a video and probably went, I probably didn't shave that day, and they looked at it and they're like, yep, he's a part of ISIS. And I'm like, damn it, manual reviews.
Damn. So, I feel like I need to get a gift for my manual reviewer, because I self-identify like sexual content in my 365 stuff, and I send it off, and then someone approves it, and I'm like, I gotta send somebody a present.
You want to know the craziest one was recently I redid the video for was it Assassination Nation? Originally got hit. It was limited. I re-uploaded. Didn't change anything other than getting rid of the copyright stuff, but I still was going to keep the stuff that made it limited.
Right.
I marked it as limited. They flagged me because they said it was safe for ads. So not only does it change what they originally said was not good and should be limited,
my God.
Forget all that and put it to the side. They flagged me for being overcautious.
That's so weird.
And said, this is safe for ads. How dare you? And it hurt my score.
There's no way. What?
There's no winning.
You can't write this stuff, bro. You can't.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I would also add Cloverfield as one of the first movies that I would like to rewatch.
Yeah, you have a lot of fond feelings for Cloverfield. Was it just the Cloverfield experience, or getting all the viral content and looking up the websites and stuff like that?
Damn, it was all of that. It was, that was so much fun. It's just seeing the way that it was done. That was, I wasn't in theaters for 90s horror, Blair Witch.
Blair Witch.
Yeah.
So
I think we've got some listeners who are probably even too young for Cloverfield. Is there like a specific part of the viral marketing that you remember?
It was just the fact that they Slusho. The fact that they all had MySpaces for each of the characters, and the last time that they logged in was the day of the event.
MySpace.
Oh,
and then there's like blueprints hidden in certain websites that you could go into, and like stuff like random sound,
cool.
like the sounds. Oh, that was cool.
But just the fact that you knew nothing about the movie, it was just something is coming, and then you sat there and you're like, wait, is the whole thing going to look like this? Is it all going to be found footage? I went with my aunt who didn't know she was pregnant. We found out she was pregnant by the end of the screening of Cloverfield. Just the whole experience of it, I thought was fantastic.
How pregnant
Amanda needs more
was she? Did her water break? Did something move? Like
no. She had no idea that she was like pregnant. Like she didn't know that.
Yeah.
My uncle was there too. That's when he found out as well.
Wild.
She just got really, really nauseous, and then she just continued to get more and more nauseous. Then it turned out, she was pregnant. It wasn't like her water broke right then.
Okay, I was like, or like something moved inside her, and she was like,
on the way back.
Yeah, there's stories of those women who don't realize they're pregnant until they're giving birth, but I don't expect it to happen in a movie.
It happened during Zen Cloverfield.
Maybe a lighter question. Tushar also asked us, what is a hidden talent or something we would be surprised to find out about you? Do you have any hidden talents that you've been hiding from the world?
No, y'all kind of know everything.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't think I have anything that's that interesting. Oh, actually, this is a good one. No one's beating me in a game of Mad Gab.
Oh wow, impressive.
Facts. I had AP European history, and I was just not good at it. And it got to the point where the teacher would like call me out, just letting me know. You ever have a teacher just tells you, just letting you know you are not the smartest one in this class.
Yeah.
But when it came to the trivia questions before the test, if you asked me the question, I would not be able to answer it to you. But when the answer is hidden in a Mad Gab, not even the smartest kids who ended up becoming valedictorians could guess it. But I could. And she was flabbergasted. One thing you're not going to beat me in is Mad Gab. There's just something in my brain. I can guess those words every single time. Even at Toronto, they had, while you wait in line, they had movies that were Mad Gab style. And everyone was like trying to guess them. I was like, da, 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 da. I guess that's the one random skill that I could tell you.
Wait, what is Mad Gab style?
I've never played Mad Gab.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What?
Are we about to play Mad Gab?
Are y'all about to play Mad Gab?
I've never played Mad
Oh my
Gab.
goodness. Really? Okay, so pretty much it's like a word. I mean, y'all can see it over there.
Oh, is it the one
but-
you have to like arrow lurk holster,
Oh, it's-
arrow lurk holster, arrow lurk holster, arrow lurk holster? Arrow lurk holster, arrow lurk holster, arrow postal, like arrow holster.
A roller coaster.
A roller. Oh
A roller
my
co-
god! Yeah, my
Oh.
brain ain't like that shit.
Yeah.
These if hill were. These if hill were. These if hill.
These if hill were. These if hill.
These
These.
safe hill war. The safe hill war.
True events.
Yeah.
It's a Marvel movie.
Civil War. The Civil War. The Civil
The
War.
The Civil War? Yeah.
Oh.
It's a
My
talent.
brain
It's
is-
hidden, guys. I don't
not
know where
like
it
that.
came
Yeah.
from.
Wow,
I
that's
got it from the
amazing.
womb.
That's amazing.
I remember the
Beautiful.
first time I
So-
played this. I was going through all the cards. I was getting them. They rage quit on me. They claimed that I had guessed all and memorized all the cards, which in and of itself is almost just as, it's not even an
It
insult.
is.
That's kind of impressive.
That's
if you
also
think
impressive. Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's the only other thing.
Wow.
My AP teacher started respecting me after the fact.
Love it.
And yeah, that's my hidden talent, I guess.
Amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I guess.
That's cool.
I played the piano for 10 years.
Really?
Oh wow, there you go.
I can play you a couple film scores if I had like a keyboard in front of me. I taught myself like the Eternal Sunshine score because that's a really beautiful score by
Damn.
John Bryan. Mad World, the song from Donnie Darko is
Love
what I
it.
play.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I'm not like a great piano player by any means.
Well,
but
that's
like,
why you chose Tom.
Exactly. I guess I relate to the cat from Tom and Jerry.
wow.
We didn't talk about Tom and Jerry.
Oh no!
Didn't you have like a bit for Tom and Jerry?
Oh no! We did it.
Oh no.
We'll bring it up in the what to watch.
For who?
It's all you. It's all you.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I was young, I could name over 200 countries' flags, but some of those countries don't exist anymore. I think. So
Really?
I'm like not as good at that.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I was a savant for that one weird bit of trivia.
Wow.
Amanda, what about you? You got a special talent for the folks at home?
I can juggle.
Really?
like
Okay.
Can you do more than 3?
No, I'm not that good. But I could do like the hacky sack
can't
stuff.
do
Like I
3.
can juggle and like kind of like kick one and like catch it in my back and like throw it back up and
That's
do some
still
stuff
cool.
like that. And like the just one hand two. Yeah, and I can play some
can't do
instruments,
that.
but that's about it. Yeah.
Very cool. Some hidden talents there. And then I don't know if this last question was from Alina or Alina pulled it from somewhere, but what's the best lesson you've learned from a movie? I was saying I learned to stay away from hard drugs thanks to Rec Room for a Dream. I learned to wear slip-ons to the airport thanks to Up in the Air. I don't know. Not sure what else.
I learned if it bleeds, it leads from Nightcrawler.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's a pretty good one. I don't know. I don't have one at all right now at this moment in time. And she's the one who asked me that. I forgot what my answers were before the show, but to be honest, I guess I'll go back to Whiplash. Just that idea of how crazy you would go chasing the thing you like the most. That's a really serious answer to it. Just that balance of what you strive for and who you keep around, and whether it's worth being the best at something if it means you're going to be the best at it alone.
The cost of greatness.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's it for the interview section, but a reminder that you can hit us up in the comments or shoot us an email, intercutpod@gmail.com, or now check out the Discord to leave us a question, and you might hear it answered in a future episode of Intercut.
Not to spoil, I feel like, can I just say it, like the book, can I just say that something that the...
Well, say it and we'll cut it out if it's not appropriate.
Okay, well, the book, the prison stuff's not in the book. There's no prison.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to prison in the book. It ends with him shooting up, not in the street, but like getting away with the, but like just...
Right.
Yeah, so...
It ends at the point in the movie before he goes to prison.
Yeah, exactly. It ends before he goes to prison. Like there is no... It's almost kind of, it ends on like a metaphor that's kind of like he won't be able to run forever type thing. And then it's the Russos that add the whole like, he's going to go to prison.
Redemption arc.
Yeah, exactly.
Prison propaganda.
That's just like... Yeah, like very weird, just very weird. And then I also felt it was weird that like the person that he literally was the worst with, and that their unhealthiness was like linked together. They're just supposed to be like nasty. Fine at the end, just fine at the end.